How are you? I'm in the best of health, Mr. Temple. How are you? Number 42, it's layer cake. Welcome to Long Play Video. Now here we are down at the Long Play Video shop again. Still going through my 100 favourite films of all time.
I feel like you might need to change this intro, jazz it up a little bit more now. Maybe do something a bit different.
We need a quiet day in the shop so that I can think of different intros. It does annoy me.
How do you feel about tap dancing? Do you want to learn tap dancing in 2025?
I've always thought that tap dancing was a particularly good podcast medium. Actually,
yeah. Well, I feel like I could hear those little clink, 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 clink. That would be nice.
I used to tap dance as a kid. Funnily enough.
Wow, really?
I will.
I'll tell you what, we're starting 2020 ISOM with a bang, aren't we? Straight in, dropping bombshells.
This is what we're going to do after this pod. We'll go and go up to the roof. You're going to teach me and have a tap dancing rather than an Empire Records.
Everything's happening.
Tap dance.
I'm teaching you diving. You're teaching me tap dancing. It's all happening.
It's a fair exchange. Fair exchange of skills.
Yeah.
So speaking of Empire Records, we've got our regular guest down to the store because she's the only guest who brings her own doorbell sound. It's Carla.
You'll have to excuse my loud shoe wear, but I came with my tap dancing shoes on. I heard there was a teacher who also works here.
I mean, this is uncanny. What are the chances?
I know, right?
We were literally just talking about that, Carla. So random.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
I'm back with another video for you, another return, and it's Terminator.
Oh, I thought it was going to be how to tap dance in 2 days. Terminator, the original.
Yeah, which I realized I had not seen maybe the whole thing through ever. So
wow.
Yeah, I was really confused by the storyline watching it. So I was like, I thought he's a good guy.
Yeah. No, he's definitely not.
One of the biggest sort of almost shocks in Terminator 2. They did because they did all the marketing so that you didn't know he was going to be a good guy. And obviously spoilers if you've not seen Terminator 1 and 2.
But that was a spoiler.
It's good that you've had the experience backwards. We're like, I'm sure he's just about to be good as he's killing everyone.
It's like he's a very brutal good guy.
Why are they running away from him? I'm sure he's a good guy.
Yeah. This always reminds me of that story from Cole, Andy. I always tell everyone about this, about why he doesn't watch trailers, because he got given away in the trailer, Carla. That's how you knew.
Oh.
And he said if you didn't know, then it was like an amazing piece of cinematography, because you're like, what? It was like such a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real mic drop moment. You're like, wow. So
it looks like he's about to shoot him.
It's interesting though when you watch them out of order. And then, you've not watched the
He's regressing. He used to be such a good guy, and now look at him.
I remember when he was governor. He was such a nice person. What's happened?
Why is he being mean to his good friend Sarah?
Jamie Lee Curtis is not going to be happy. It's a classic. Still hold up, does it? The 80s effects and stuff.
I think so.
It's quite sort of practical effects in the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
remember,
obviously,
which is good.
Yeah,
when he's the prosthetics do look extremely rubbery, but then the funny thing was, like, in one scene you're like, oh dear God, that looks terrible, but then he also has prosthetics in another scene and they look really good, and then you're like, why didn't they just use that the whole time? But no, it still holds up, but you have to. It's definitely an upgrade in Terminator 2.
Maybe one of the prosthetic guys was really good, and then he was just off sick for like half of the shoot.
Everyone's like, where is he?
Also, the fact that it's set in 2029. Like,
oh wow!
Yeah,
well, get ready.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's
things are going to go downhill. Yeah,
And then
The
I
next-
did.
It's not that
years.
much.
Yeah.
I think in it was either in Portugal or Spain. Their internet provider was called Skynet as well, and they had to like rebrand.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have rebranded.
That's brilliant.
I would
Yeah,
have owned
just
it.
lean into it.
Yeah, it would have been fine. They would have been.
We're going to
ahead
send
of the game
someone
for
around your
AI.
house to help you.
Yeah.
Be nice to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll
So
be
I've just
nice.
left something. I've just left something in my car. I'll be back.
Hey.
Come with me if you want Wi-Fi.
Oh, these are good. We can
So yeah,
stay here
that's
all
my
day.
return
So
for
many.
you anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for renting it out to me.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. We'll put it on the 80s wall.
Yeah.
Lots of great classics in there.
Classics.
And then today's film from the early 2000s, 2004, so 21 years ago, which
Nice.
seems extreme. It's
Mm.
the Daniel Craig classic Layer Cake, which I believe, Carla,
Yeah.
you are yet to see.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's always been on
Wow.
my like, oh, I need to watch that list.
Mm.
Yeah.
Never
Well,
did it.
let
Wow.
me slide over what is probably one of the stranger front covers of a DVD I've ever owned.
Yeah.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about your first impressions from a film that you probably know a little bit about, just from the DVD cover.
I'll be honest, I actually don't know much about it other than they all have English accents and there's some layer of crime involved. But yeah, I'm extremely confused by the cover. There is an iron, like an iron for your clothes on the front of a yellow Jeep. Is it a Jeep? Not really a car.
Land Rover.
Oh, a
Yeah.
Land Rover. There you have it. And that is literally all that's on the front
That's
cover.
it.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Oh, Colin Meaney's in it. I see his name at the top,
Yep.
representing Ireland. And then also on the center bit, the bind, we have a beat up Daniel Craig and then just a saucy pair of ladies' legs at the bottom.
Saucy.
Yeah.
There's a word I don't hear very often these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Saucy.
I feel-
I feel like it's more PG than saying sexy. So,
Yeah. No, it
Yeah.
definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
and then they've used a number 4 for the A in layer and a backwards 3 for the E in cake. So I don't know what that's going to allude to. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
confused.
that's a big it's a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
And then I
Keep your eye
wonder,
out
Is
for
it-
that.
should on the back, it just looks like Daniel Craig out of James Bond because he's got a little gun in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
is
this is-
weird, right?
this
'Cause
is
this was
pre-Bond,
before
yeah.
Bond, right?
Yeah,
this
maybe
is-
this is what got him the gig. I don't know.
Very much so.
think that's-
Like there's
Okay.
one scene in
Yeah.
particular where they are clearly sort of not a
Yeah.
dig, but like a funny, like we're going to make this as Bond as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're kind of sure he's going to get it, but this was almost kind of
Oh,
proving
okay.
that he could do it.
So he was up for it already, and so it's like a tongue in cheek.
Yeah. He
okay.
was kind of he was
Interesting.
being linked with it even before this, but then this was kind of a bit of a dry run.
Do you know how soon
yeah.
after was he in his first Bond after this?
Yeah. Can you just
this-
phone him, Andy, and just find out for us?
When you were
This-
interviewing him for this podcast, did you?
Well,
Yeah.
no, me and
What did you
Daniel.
say?
No, Casino Royale was 2006. So yeah, I was working on the campaign. So yeah, it was 2006. So I think this came out 2004, and I think he started filming more or less straight after this came out.
There you go. Wow. I'm going to be interested to see what you think of this. Then, Carla, bearing in mind, this is good because you've seen some of the Bonds, hopefully. So just like with Terminator 2 and Terminator 1, we're going backwards in the reverse order.
Origin story.
Yeah. It's the modern way to watch films. Start with the final one and work your way backwards. Just
Yeah.
yeah. Andy,
It-
watch the last Harry Potter, and then you might find them all right as you go along.
Say
There's
with
some
Marvel
sort of spell
films.
on him so that he gets
Yeah.
younger. Is this like Benjamin Button type thing?
Yeah.
Was this
Oh.
Sienna Miller's breakout film
Not
as
not
well? Like,
really.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, not really sort of breakout. I think she was kind of already Sienna Miller by this
like the
stage.
socialite.
Yeah, she was kind of. Yeah, I think she was kind of well known. I mean,
Has
yeah,
she
I
ever
don't
had a
know.
breakout film? Maybe not.
That would be the question.
That would be the
Yeah,
question.
but I mean, this is probably her biggest role to the time, but it's not a particularly big role. It has to be
For
said.
those listening, I can confirm the saucy legs belong to Sienna Miller on the cover.
Yeah.
Those people
Check.
who well,
Yeah.
how do you know? Just because
fact check.
Well,
in lingerie on the back as well. Maybe
yeah, maybe they go
it's
to the
possible.
same shop, Marks and
Yeah.
Spencer's. They both buy their underwear at Marks and Spencer's.
It's just getting less saucy all the time.
In the bargain bin, they both find suspenders and stockings.
Can you talk us through the plot summary on the DVD?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the tagline, or the review is a dense, wild, and convulsive gangster thriller from Owen from Entertainment Weekly. Planning to retire. Oh, okay. Planning to retire and begin a new life. Mr. X, Daniel Craig, a successful West End drug dealer, has been asked for one last favor to negotiate the sale of 1 million hits of ecstasy. Unfortunately for Mr. X, the pills were stolen from a Serbian drug lord who'll cut off his head if he sells them. And with the London crime czar, Michael Gambon, promising to retire him permanently if he doesn't, Mr. X may be rightfully concerned about his future. Nothing worth losing. Oh, nothing worth losing his head over. Okay, so it's a real good guy turned bad, or bad guy turning good, turning bad. So I'm already liking the sound of this.
And it's just Daniel Craig on the back. He's in like every scene of this, apart from obviously the Sienna Miller photo. I was like, there are other people in this film, but they're just like, no, everyone will know Daniel Craig is. We'll just leave him on there. Even Michael Gambon doesn't make it in, and he's like super famous.
Interesting that when they're saying Daniel Craig on the back as well, the main film that they list is Lara Croft Tomb Raider. So had he not been in anything good? Like, okay, I shouldn't say that it wasn't good.
Yeah, because it's great.
That was that was peak Angelina Jolie time as well, when she was Lara Croft.
Yeah,
it was.
Would you say that's peak Jolie? Really?
Well, no, actually, Girl Interrupted and everything. I suppose you're right. I suppose the hype of her fame. She was very famous then, for the wrong reasons, maybe.
Or the what's the Nicolas Cage one with the Gone in 60 Seconds, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Prime Jolie. No, Daniel Craig had been in kind of a few different things, but like almost not as lead actor, definitely like as a backup, but had sort of caught the eye, I think is kind of the best way, because I think he'd been in he'd done a lot of theatre. I think like his route up was sort of a very well trodden, like English actor type way. And then he was in a couple of movies that like he was sort of building to be the main character, to be the main actor and stuff.
Listen to this little run of TV. This is just for a certain age in the UK. This little run of TV episodes it was in: Boon, a classic, then Zorro, Drop the Dead Donkey, Sharp, Between the Lines, and Heartbeat. All the classic.
Wow.
Literally covered every one of them. There you go.
I think our friends in the north. I think he was our friends in the north.
Friends in the north as well.
That was like
8 episodes.
Quite a big one at the time.
Yeah.
He really
wasn't really that big at all then. It's so weird to think about, isn't it? Because he's like huge now, and obviously he's so well known as Bond. To think that he wouldn't have been known at all. And I reckon he would have been quite old in this, right? What year was this?
2004.
Okay, let's see if we can work this out. 2004. So 20 years ago. Okay, perfect. This is going to be easy. So he's 50. Great news for us. 56 now. So
Kev's
he
got
would
up
be
to the
36.
blackboard. He's
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Here we go.
yeah.
Let's get this quadratic equation going. So 36 is getting on for having your first big break, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think
This
he's
is
kind of matured into the roles. I think
But
because
there's very
like
few that achieve that, right?
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
he's strikes. I think he's always struck me as like a 30-something. Like even when he was younger, which I've seen him in bits and
back
pieces.
in the days when you knew him in Boon.
He's just got that sort of face, hasn't he? He's like that. He's got that like mid-30s, mid-40s face now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, wow.
As you said, our friends in the north: Christopher Eccleston, Mark Strong, Daniel Craig. It's
yeah,
you know,
it's a big.
Maybe he's a Terminator. He's never aging.
Oh wow!
I feel like
Terminator's
is really staying with you.
He has those piercing eyes.
It's hit hard.
Kev, what's your memory of Layer Cake? And you've seen it. You remember that you've seen
love this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it just reminds you of being back in England. And...
yeah, but yeah, this is exactly what I remember everyone sounds like in the UK. Yeah, no, I remember really liking this movie. I remember. I won't say anything, but it'll be good to see once Carla watches it. But I do remember, thinking this was really good. I think pretty sure I watched this in the cinema, and just a really good, in that sort of gangster thriller, as our friend Owen has told us. I think it just really fits that genre really well, and it was really good. Like I remember Daniel Craig being really good. And it's weird. I don't particularly remember thinking, "Oh, who is this guy?" You just thought, "Oh, yeah, these people are good. This is a good film." And obviously, there's some iconic things with like the yellow Jeep and things like that. But yeah, what about you, Andy? Why is it on the list then?
Yeah, so I definitely went to see it at the cinema. Remember going to see it, and Matthew Vaughn, the director. Like I at the time I was sort of having more of a movie movie time, as in I was like paying a lot of attention to what movies were coming out and stuff. So Matthew Vaughn was a producer on Lock, Stock and Snatch, and like him and Guy Ritchie, sort of were kind of basically kind of working together a lot. So it kind of was almost that, okay, this is his breakout. It's going to be like Guy Ritchie, but actually sort of a little bit different because of the differences that he brings to it. I was kind of I was like, okay, actually this is, I'd watched a bunch of interviews, kind of knew that this was like effectively like his kind of debut, was really excited to kind of go and see it and sort of see a first time filmmaker, and sort of knew that it had that Lock, Stock and kind of Snatch kind of background to it, which that's the thing, like at the end of the 90s when those films came out, obviously, especially with Guy Ritchie, like it was very different, and it did feel like a new generation of kind of British films that was sort of a bit more I don't know, just a bit more modern, even though in some ways the films are very kind of classic and old-fashioned in the gangster mold, but like it was definitely kind of the cool Britannia and like everything else, right? It was definitely of its time, and then this was kind of like after it again, kind of going on that just that kind of taking it a step on, which I think is why I'm not a massive Guy Ritchie fan. I like his films, kind of fine. They're fine. Like,
what's happening? Let's not take on Guy Ritchie.
I'm just saying, they're fine. They're good. Like The Gentleman and
unbelievable.
Lock, Stock and Snatch. They were good, but for me, I prefer this film because it's a bit slicker in style, and that's just kind of that's what I like is a bit more of the dialogue, is a bit more kind of the sort of snappiness and the visual style that Matthew Vaughn brings.
Should we talk about how much romance is going to be in this film, Andy? Because I don't remember there being any in there, but I'm sure there must be if it's on your list.
I don't think.
What's the Andy romanceometer for this?
Is that a new rating within this?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure romance is particularly.
How many love hearts do you give it?
What's the sauciness scale?
Yeah, the saucy scale.
Yeah, what is Andy's saucy scale?
Not too high. No, this is but funnily enough, actually, like not that much action either. There's like 2 or 3 scenes that really stick out from an action point, and like a couple of choreographed things that are very action orientated. But it is like the story, and it is the script, and the sort of explaining of why everything's going on. No, like trying to avoid spoilers. But that's the thing. It's not like it's also not wall to wall action, and like it's not an action movie. It is a maybe even kind of. I mean, again, just a little there's sort of noir sort of parts to it, I guess.
I feel like this noir, even like, you know, as the one of the last films that we watched at the end of 2024 that we all watched, Wonder Boys. I thought
I think that was I think your memory is deceiving you. I think we watched that at the beginning of 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it must have been just that was right. 2025.
We can edit this so it's seamless. But but make your point, Kev, because that's definitely like that's definitely something I noticed.
Yeah. Like I mean, as I'm sure Carla, you would have noticed that when you watched Wonder Boys as well.
Absolutely.
It had that noir feel as well.
Yeah.
So this is definitely, maybe that's going to be part of your the new categories as well, Andy.
Yeah,
like, along with the love hearts.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because after Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, we were talking about whether noir actually stands up, because obviously a lot of it is almost sort of 1930s. But that's the thing. It's kind of noir in a different way, and maybe sort of updated
certain
and
elements.
Like the slick dialogue and the and sort of some of the classic characters, whilst not being a kind of noir like storyline, which I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was, and obviously Wonder Boys isn't. And the same with this, which is probably closer to like what a classic noir is, because you do have like the main character, Daniel Craig, being kind of detective-y, without too much spoilers. But I just that's why I really like it, because I just think it's really good. We spoke about it with Thomas Crown as well. This is going to be controversial. Is this the best Daniel Craig James Bond? Is he actually better in this than in any of his Bonds? Because obviously recency bias, everyone loves Daniel Craig. I wonder in another 10 years which of his Bonds are going to stand up and which aren't.
So first off, you're taking on Guy Ritchie. Now you're taking on Daniel Craig.
I'm trying to cause arguments, Kev. I'm just asking the question.
And the whole Bond saga is also being
no, I'm not. The new Bond films for me are just like, it's almost like the Fast and the Furious films now. It's more just a spectacle, and it's just a bit of fun. I think Casino Royale, the first one he did, that had really good story. And I think that's a very good film. The others are just more like explosions and cars, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think, like to your point,
they're all on your list.
Back. I mean, they're all on my list,
The romance in Bond films now is quite comical, right? It's like, who's
they don't
the
know
love
what to do
interest gonna
they?
be? You know?
Yeah. Well, but then I think Casino Royale in particular, for me, feels quite like GoldenEye that we were talking about with Pierce. Is that like he bought from after the silliness that unfortunately the Pierce Brosnan movies kind of got to.
Yes.
Then Casino Royale kind of brought it back. Yeah. But actually, I would.
And then it goes again.
I would kind of. Well, I'd contend like Casino Royale is so influenced by the first Bourne movie. That actually, like, it just kind of feels like they were like, oh yeah, that's what like
Yeah.
a Bond or like a modern movie should be, and kind of ripped off a lot of the scenes and stuff from
I
that.
think
But
it's just, yeah, like the car scenes and stuff. There were some really good things in Casino Royale, though. I think that no one had ever done before. Like on the bit on the road, when she's on the road and he has to divert the car, that's like, you're not expecting that at all. And I just think the story is very good. And obviously
Well,
you've
you are
got
now.
good, like,
spoilers.
yeah. Yeah, spoilers for everyone. Well, we've all got to remember, we've got to watch it in reverse, like
Yeah, like Terminator.
like Carla, yeah.
How he
Yeah, I
manages
don't
to
know.
flip the car and land just in front of her. That's oh wait, are we watching the movies in reverse? Or are we watching
Yeah.
I'm starting to get confused.
But yeah, no, I think this is good. This is very good. I think this, and then I guess he goes on to Casino Royale, right? After this. So this is maybe peak Daniel Craig then. Maybe this and then straight on to Casino Royale. Because Like Cake is a good film. I remember watching it thinking it was a really good film. So I'll be interested to see what Carla thinks after she watches it.
Yeah, he had actually, funnily enough, he had a couple of films come out before Casino Royale came out.
Oh, okay.
After this. I think he was filming it, but like Munich came out.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, before Casino Royale. And then like the lesser of the Truman Capote films that he was in when he's in Infamous.
Okay.
Rather than Capote, which then completely
I do have to ask a question about Colin Meaney, or maybe I can make a prediction and we'll see. In my mind, he's going to play the cop chasing Daniel Craig, but I could be wrong.
Who knows?
Okay.
I mean, not me, because I can't
Because he
remember.
always seems to play a cop, and then often a crooked cop, which is because he was also in a Bond film, I think, recently, was he not? Or did I maybe make that up? I don't know. But that's my prediction. You could tell me if I'm right or wrong now, or just leave it up to.
I only know him as being in charge of the teleporters. So
there you go.
That's still what what I think of him. So.
There's a great meme page of pictures of him in that character saying really like Dublin phrases.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll find it for you. I'll send it to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing this finally.
Yeah.
After all these years, 20 years.
It'll be good. And especially after, you enjoyed Wonder Boys so much, I think this has been another surprise hit for you.
This is just what I needed after that,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you went that way, Kev, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you wouldn't say after you hated Wonder Boys.
Some of the things you said about Toby,
that real problem with
Maguire.
that one character.
The dinosaurs.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff you said about Toby, I wasn't sure about, but the rest of it was all good.
The personal revelation was. I'm still thinking about it now.
Yeah, still working its way.
Me too.
Well, I think we should get this on.
I think this is this is great. This is a great popcorn film. We'll settle in. Gonna enjoy watching this back, see what you think, Carla, and then we'll see you after the jump.
See you then. Crikey!
Is that gangster
Steve
world?
Irwin?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that more Australian? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, cool, blimey. Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Yeah,
Crikey's definitely more Steve Irwin.
Oh yeah, you're right.
For a movie set in 1980s, Cool Blimey would be right there.
Yeah.
In a good way, on a bad way.
In a good way. This, I have to say, this definitely was in my lane of films that I like. I love those kind of gangster films and the sort of Cockney geezer idea, all that. I really enjoyed it. So good choice, Andy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, but it was really good. I forgot Gampon was in it, like as much as he is. Like I kind of thought it was just a little bit, and he's just having. I don't know who. I guess maybe Guy Ritchie was like the first person to think of it, or maybe not the first, but in more modern times, of having that sort of classically trained like British actor playing like the sort of villain gangster. It's just so good. It just this he was just brilliant. And I was just like, you just have to, and he's done it in so many films, obviously Guy Ritchie, and obviously it happens here as well. But I just think it works so well, right? You're just like, wow, they just have so much gravitas, and and you can really believe that they could be like the head of this, like, big cartel.
Yeah, yeah. Thing is, I think what they do really well with it is because obviously it is the comparison to Guy Ritchie films, right? That everyone has, but like The Duke is almost a Guy Ritchie film, and they go a different way, and it's sort of interesting because the rumors are Guy Ritchie was supposed to make it, and then he went off to make his other film with Madonna, and then that's why that's why Boon kind of stepped up to it and stuff. But I do think it's for me, it's just like it's way more interesting than Guy Ritchie films because it's like it does have the layers. I mean, obviously that's what they call it, but like it does have more depth to it, and there is more going on, and like the fact that like the entire thing of like, well, don't just be like a loudmouth, kind of gangster, because that's never gonna work out. Whereas that's kind of
the unprofessional, ones is the loudmouth gangster.
Yeah. And then I mean, even with Gambon, I think it's brilliant because like Jimmy does, to begin with, Jimmy seems like he's the boss because like he's so smooth, and like at the lunch and stuff, he's like in charge. But then as soon as you meet Gambon and like the flashbacks then to Jimmy are like, oh, okay, he's sort of rubbish. And I think it's sort of really interesting the way that it looks at people from different kind of viewpoints, and that changes the character completely. Like, Daniel Craig looking at him is like, oh, okay, he's got it all sorted. He's like the boss, but actually then Gambon looking at him is like, oh, he's like, he amuses my friends when he's when he comes to the golf tournament and stuff. And so I think it's really I think it's really good for that, and just it's really entertaining.
And they put in like so many sort of twists and turns, but like in a nice way. Like it doesn't ever feel like at the end, it doesn't feel like they overdo them too much. I didn't think. I feel like, you have a few and you're like, oh, they did that. And then you're like, but they don't like try to be too clever about it. You're just like, oh, it's subtle. This just sort of happened. They're not like, look how clever we are. Look, we got you twice. It's sort of just like, no, look, we did this. It's good, isn't it? And you're like, yeah, it is good. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then we move on.
It's also like you feel comfortable watching that film all the way through, and when the surprises are happening. Whereas I notice if you watch a Guy Ritchie film, you almost feel uncomfortable the whole way through because you're waiting for like, oh no, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Whereas you're still getting the what happens next, but it's not like riddled with fear through it.
Oh, that's good to hear that you weren't like absolutely bricking it while you're watching that whole film.
But I think that's also I'd even say that about the style, like the sort of the transitions and there's so many sort of from one place to another. The transitions are so good, and with Guy Ritchie films, it does feel a bit like showing off. Whereas I think they're like employed better in this film than in most Guy Ritchie films. Like they're actually used to like do something that is like obviously with the eyes being kind of one of them, when they zoom in on his eyes and then they sort of zoom out and he's in the bushes sort of waiting. But like the entire point is that can he do it or can't he? And then it like I just feel like in Guy Ritchie again, these Guy Ritchie films come across as a little bit of a comedy, and then this doesn't. This comes across as a more serious film, which I think works.
Yeah, that's really fair point. Because Guy Ritchie is comedy through and through, I think.
Yeah. Just his life in general. That guy, he's funny. But do you think that maybe we think that now because we got overexposed, and he basically kind of did do the same film on repeat a few times? Because I'm sure, like when I first watched Lock, Stock, it was like revolutionary. You're like, wow, this is incredible. This is such a good film. And is it just that we've just become indoctrinated to his way, and it becomes a bit like, no. Yeah, we've seen that. That's just this, but in a slightly different venue.
Yeah, I think it's still, as kind of said before, I think they're still good films for what they are, and like they're still like they are very funny, and is yeah, there is a lot of comedy in it, and the way that they kind of shoot it is always quite funny. I think that's the thing for me. This is just a bit more interesting, and like this is a bit more kind of slick, and it's just the style that I prefer. Is like everything's just a bit more sort of slick and kind of
you're a slick kind of guy, Andy. We all know that.
I mean, maybe that should be my my gangster name. I don't know. That was
Slick Guy.
Slick Andy.
Slick Andy.
Slick Andy. Even better. That could also be your name for other opportunities in life as well. I
love all of the names. Surely you were thinking about what your gangster name would be. She had Tiptoes, Kinky, Crazy Lowy, Kilburn Jerry, Mr. Lucky, Slasher, Paul the Boatman. Paul the Boatman was a bit of a poor one. Go on then, Carla.
There's
yours?
a way that you can all figure out what yours is. So it's it's either the color or the pattern you're wearing right now, and the last thing that you ate. And when I was doing mine, I came out to be stripes carbonara.
Stripes carbonara. Mine's green sandwich. That's terrible.
And yet, strangely fitting.
I'm not going to be in charge of anything.
Wait, what was in the sandwich?
Turkey.
Green turkey.
Is that better?
That sounds like a espionage name.
Yeah. Well, I did have gherkins in as well, so maybe green gherkin. That sounds my super villain name.
Yeah,
green gherkin.
You've wandered into a Marvel movie. We always, for my daughter, she always used to take off one sock when she was a baby, so we always used to call her One Sock Chandler. That was her gangster name. That's
actually a great one.
Yeah.
What would yours be, Andy? Did you?
Yeah, what's yours?
I haven't eaten anything. Anything today. So
just so everyone knows, it's 10:30 at night, and Slick Andy hasn't eaten anything yet.
Yeah, true. We can't replace Slick Andy. That's good enough as it is. You don't need the mechanism.
That's
when you've got it, you've got it.
That's going to haunt me.
I know what you mean about the directing, though. I did think it was good, and it was noticeable that there were some lovely scenes of the way that it was shot and the way it interjected between the two different parts. And I think for me it's the cafe scene. That's such a good scene. And then when they overlay the music, then they're overlaying the Duke scene as well. And it's just, and then the music goes up and down as he's hitting him or not hitting him. That was like a brilliant scene. I absolutely loved it. I mean, obviously it's brutal. The music, and you're like, oh.
The music all the way through though, I think really elevates as well. And like the score and because the song's playing on the radio in the background while they're like before then the guy comes in the cafe scene, and so and then it kind of comes in, and then you've got from his point of view as he's going in and out of consciousness. It's I think all the way through they use the music really, really well.
The opening sequence as well, where he's walking through the pharmacy and everything's changed. It was just such a slick way of setting it as well.
And it was good, isn't it? Like it feels like, oh, that definitely is like probably where it would go. And they smoothed that out really nicely. I didn't realize, I completely forgot that Tom Hardy was in this. Like I've seen this, and I was like, what is he doing? And I was trying to remember who it was. I was like, who's that guy? And he's so good. I love Tom Hardy. I'm like, why is he not in stuff more?
Yes, it's a small performance, but he's really good even in that small. Like he just has that face as well that he's just good on camera, regardless of what he's doing. I'm biased.
He is good though. I think, and he even like you said, he had very few lines, but he just delivers them so well, and it's just such a good. I don't know if it's the pace or whatever, but I was like, God, this guy's really good. Who is this guy? I'm sure I know him. I was like, oh yeah, it's Tom Hardy. Yeah, that guy. The one that's sold out to DC and just does those terrible films now. That's the guy.
Marvel. It's still Marvel.
And I was so wrong. I was so wrong about calling Mimi because I thought he was going to be a cop.
Yeah.
And he was Gene with that freezer in his house.
I love that when they first go to lunch as well, like the looks between Gene and Morty when Jimmy's asking him like go and find someone, and you can like you can see they're communicating where Morty's a bit like, this is wrong, like what's going on, and Jean's like, but you can't do anything about it, you're just gonna have to put up with it. And like there's quite a few like just reaction shots of the two of them looking at each other, which really does like, and it establishes that they know each other from back in the day. And no, I think it's like I think it's really, really good that you do get the sense of like the world where they all have come up together and they do all know each other. And and that obviously doesn't work out so well for Daniel Craig, because he hasn't, and so he's kind of at the mercy of whatever they want to do with him, really.
He's the outsider.
So that reminds me, actually, and I think we need to, and I need to ask you this, Carla, before we comment on this, Andy. What did you think of the ending, Carla?
I liked it. I was shocked. It did completely catch me by surprise. I liked it. I was glad that it happened.
I remember. I'm glad he's dead. Yeah.
Well, is he though? We don't know if he is.
Yeah.
I think in my mind he's not dead. In my mind he's not dead. But I thought it was.
I remember when I first watched it, I remember thinking, like, as you said, complete shock, and also thinking, I can't believe that. I guess maybe back in those days, we've been so indoctrinated into having happy endings in every film.
Yeah.
That it's like, I was like, why? But now watching it again, I was like, oh, it's great, because he's doing his narration, talking about how he's covered every single angle. He's thought about everything. He's the man in the know. The one thing he didn't think about was the ex-boyfriend.
Exactly.
And you're just like,
and
like the most obvious one.
Sydney was such a I don't know. You feel sorry for him, that whole scene where he meets Sydney in the bar, and then when he meets Sienna Miller, like, I just felt so bad for Sydney the whole way through. And
when he sat there at the end by himself, and he's like in VIP, and he's just like nodding along to the music.
Yeah.
We won't get to which character you identify with most just yet. But
Slick Andy.
Green Gherkin.
But I think with the ending as well, like it feels because the moral of the entire story is that, like, what he is doing, like, he doesn't see himself as a drug dealer or as a criminal, but he is. And then kind of when push comes to shove, I mean, I got really big sort of Breaking Bad vibes from it now, having where it's just like, okay, he's like, oh, I'm out of here as long as nothing goes wrong, and then like everything goes wrong over and over and over again, and then he ends up with blood on his hands, and having kind of killed someone, because actually he is the same as all of the others, and he when you're put in a corner, you do what you can to get out. I think that again with Daniel Craig, I actually kind of on this watch, it really actually made me appreciate him as Bond more, because you think, okay, actually in Bond he does play quite a different character, but almost in the same circumstances. But kind of the choices that he makes for Bond, like, they are actually choices, and it kind of just kind of made me think, there's no doubt that he is the best actor to ever play Bond, because I think like the acting that he brings to what is Bond, and he kind of the storylines are always going to be the same. But in this, I think there's a lot of different times where he's got the swagger, like, funny enough, when he walks into lunch, like, the swagger is kind of there, but it is a different type. And I think it is like what he manages to do in this film, I think, is very much going to show the character, just the hubris of, like, he thinks he's got it all sorted and all worked out, and actually he hasn't, and he keeps making bad decisions. I love the bit where with Dragon on the phone, well, obviously he's like, do you know where I live? Well, no. Okay, well. And then later when he's talking about it, and they're like, you told him to call. And he's like, I'm actually regretting that now.
There were so many moments where his amateur element of being a gangster just keeps showing up. Like, even when he goes in to visit his accountant and the whole office is cleared out, and he just like sits in the corner, and you're like, oh, he is screwed. He's he didn't plan this ahead at all.
And again, like, so well shot, just to like have the vertigo almost, and like to be spinning, and he as you say, like, he just makes himself very small in the corner.
Mhm.
that, yeah, like, I do think that's what elevates us. Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
that a little bit more.
Was there anything that you guys didn't really like? I couldn't really find anything that I didn't really like. I thought it was all, nothing really stuck out to me. Was there anything that you guys had?
I have a couple. I don't
Oh.
think
Yeah.
Mr. Lucky has been taking French lessons very long to have a test. He's doing bonjour, ça va. I just, if he's having a test, he's clearly been doing it for a while, and his vocabulary was very simple, I thought. So, yeah, that was. I just thought it
and
was
that's why he gets
unbelievable.
punished ultimately from afar. Yeah. What about you, Carla? Was there anything you didn't like?
Really, I would have actually liked Sienna Miller to have a bit more of a
Yeah,
role
that's
in
true.
it, maybe, because I think
Yeah.
she was also like really charismatic on camera, and I liked the whole like
Yeah.
I liked the idea that he had to get in touch with her to find out where the Duke was, or at least where Sydney was. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that, but I also don't think it like sacrificed anything in the film necessarily. But no, there was nothing
Yeah.
stood out as I didn't like it, to be honest.
I kind of thought
Yeah.
even with Sienna Miller is kind of even like playing with the sort of the Bond girl about like, how irrelevant the girl is in these types of
True.
movies and these types of
Yeah.
stories, and almost because it's almost bizarre how little she's in it, considering that she's introduced at all.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I kind of got that was on purpose, sort of saying like, yeah, this isn't a good
Yeah.
character. Like this is just
This isn't a
random
romance.
character. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know.
Kev will be
No
happy.
romance in this film. Yeah, that's probably why I like it. Yeah, I think you're right. You kind of feel like you either flesh a character out or remove it, because it doesn't really add anything, does it? Like, there's no real. It doesn't move the movie on too much of the plot. You could probably have removed her and done some other bits and pieces, because she's really doing it a lot at all. That was one thing that I was surprised about. I was like, I don't remember her being in it so little, but she's like hardly
Yeah,
in it
well,
at
it
all.
had
is
to,
she,
yeah,
really?
it did have an impact at the time, which I think is
Yeah.
probably
I
more.
guarantee they
or
used
something
that
of the
scene
time.
of her smoking on the
Yeah.
dance floor in the trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and I think I mean it was a sort of FHM like lads
Yeah.
mags world at the time, so
Yeah.
I think quite a few of the covers of the
Yeah.
reviews even, because obviously Daniel Craig wasn't well known at the time, and
No.
Matthew Vaughn wasn't famous, so I think she basically kind of every review probably had her in it. And she was in it for like 20 seconds. Although she does do really well. I think when she comes out, when he's been kidnapped, when she comes out and is just looking around, I think she actually does really well. Like she does actually like
genuine confusion.
What?
Yeah,
I thought that
what?
was
Are you jousting?
You having a laugh? Yeah.
I loved the Duke's girlfriend. Speaking of female characters, the hysterical, like she was so unhinged. I loved her character.
But do you know who she is?
Oh,
No.
no.
This is Sally Hawkins. Shape of Water.
The infamous.
Yeah, no, Shape
Oh.
of Water, Paddington.
No
like,
way.
Oh, Paddington.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, she's been in.
Now you're talking my language.
Wait, did she win an Oscar for?
No, she's nominated for
Paddington.
Shape of Water.
Yeah, for Shape
Definitely
of
for
Water.
Paddington, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Paddington 3.
No, so it's funny because obviously, like, the rest of the time, she sort of plays almost sort of the sort of the quiet British person. So it's really funny to see her in this.
Yeah, she was
She
good.
looked very different.
She was.
It was hard to distinguish.
She was a bit high strung. It's the same as Shanks.
A little bit.
I love when they go Shanks and he's like, you giving it the big. It's like this. I'm not sure you want to be doing business with this guy. And obviously his mate from Brookside.
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
yeah. Loved him. I was like, Brookie right away. And that Shanks guy, he also plays like the lunatic drug dealer in Skins, the TV show as well. There was a series later. But I just realized as well, a James Bond connection is Sydney is Q.
Yeah.
And I just realized that right now.
Yeah.
I knew I recognized him.
Yeah. It's
Really?
Ben Whishaw. Is that his name?
Wishaw, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Wow, this really was a breakout film for a lot of people.
Yeah. And
Wow.
obviously, good that Dexter Fletcher is in there.
Yeah.
Trying to find someone.
Yeah.
Obviously, with his journalist background from
Yep.
Press Gang,
Classic.
then he's gonna be able to do it. That's for everyone out there. That's the Press Gang reference. You don't get many of those references these days, but that was a little known TV from the 90s. Did you
Mainly
also know?
Zero.
Because Kev obviously actually watched Press Gang as well as me. There's probably only four of us. Gabrielle Anwar was in it. You know, the main actress from Concierge. Yeah. And Sensible Woman. She's the one who dances with.
What?
Yeah, she was in Press Gang as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm watching this TV series at the moment called Burn Notice, and she's in that. I did not know she was. We must have covered this in the podcast, but
No,
I do not remember that she was in Concierge.
There you go.
Wow. I mean, this podcast is. I mean, honestly, Carla, if we just watched these films and paid attention like Andy does, imagine how good our lives would be.
Revelation after revelation.
Like if we actually did what we were supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Well, they two other things just before we go to the other things. They use the F word 210 times.
No,
which puts it at like 8th or something in the all-time list.
That's good.
Why does the word expansive have homosexual overtones? I'm not sure. Like what that is.
I
Someone
think
using the word expansive means you're a homosexual. I'm just like, expansive. What's it? Really?
I feel like he literally could have said anything and he would have been like, oh right, yeah, look at you.
But I love that line though, because what do you want? Well, that's a very expansive question. I just think that's a great line.
Yeah.
And then overall, like the attitude to drugs, I think like this film like sums up the attitude to drugs at the time really well. Like I think, in the opening monologue about cocaine being demonized in the Daily Mail, and now those people are my biggest customers, to kind of ease in the club, and I do think it sort of sums up drugs really well. And I was thinking about it, you don't hear as much about drugs these days. Like it's not drugs and drug
it
takers
depends
and
how
stuff.
you are, Andy.
No, but like in the news, and in the news cycle has moved on to complain about all the other things that the right wing wants to complain about. But like you don't hear people taking drugs isn't demonized, I think, as much as it was kind of back then in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, that is true.
I wondered,
I guess it's just like so deeply embedded into society now that it's not revelationary to have a storyline about someone dying or overdosing or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. And there's so much more research being done now into drugs. I think at the time there was like everything was like, oh, you cannot do any drugs, they're all horrifically terrible for you. Well, we're all just sitting there like, pickling our liver in alcohol and eating like non-stop sugar. And actually, like now, I think a lot of drugs are being used for different medical scenarios. So I think they're almost like not the enemy anymore, right? So it's not really.
You think
used.
the drugs news cycle has been taken over by sugar? Okay, well,
the sugar news cycle.
Is that progress? I'm not sure. But,
well, do you not think? I think it's more now. People aren't talking about the Class A drugs; they're talking about opioids and things like that. Still,
true.
So maybe it's just like, I don't know, the drug cartel situation. Yeah, I think what you hear about more now are the gangs fighting each other that like deal the drugs rather than the actual people taking them, and that's probably what the flip side is.
Honestly,
we've had
this
a lot
like,
of shows.
This podcast,
it's like news round. I don't know what's happened,
but Gang. It's all over again.
Kev, read the weather for us, please.
And today,
Kev, the weatherman.
There will not be a hurricane. I can guarantee you.
That's a good name,
Kev, the weatherman.
It's going to be raining today, lads.
I like that. It sounds good. Oh wow. Well, yeah. Anything that you guys thought that dated the film? I think, as you talked about earlier, Carla, I was thinking, oh yeah, God, smoking in clubs. Remember that? That was
Yeah.
crazy town. Yeah.
There was somewhere else. There was one scene where they smoked inside. Oh, maybe it was were they smoking in the cafe? There was
Yeah.
somewhere, and I was like, really? They're just
Yeah.
smoking everywhere.
Just
Yeah.
smoking
He was doing.
everywhere.
He had the
Let
cigar,
alone
didn't he? In the.
Oh yeah, in the lunch.
I think the
Mm.
yellow drug dealer car probably dated it, because I feel like now they're driving, I don't know, Lexus or Bentleys or something, probably.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
inflation for you.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Nothing struck me as like out of place, really. But I don't know. What about you guys?
I mean, it was the drugs thing for me, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
like the attitude to drugs, or like what the
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
what the entire, like, that's, I don't almost think that you could make this film now, because everyone would be like, well, like, why are you
Well,
bothering?
I'm glad you said that, because for me, I thought this is going to get into film. I mean, the films at similar basically. You might as well just do it now. It's going to be all Guy Ritchie films, but this is very similar to The Gentleman, but like The Gentleman's like a longer version, because you have the kidnapped person that they're chasing. That they're trying to hunt down.
The daughter.
It's very, very similar story to The Gentleman, and both are very good films in their own right, in different ways. But I did think, wow, the story. I was like, wow, this story is so similar to The Gentleman. And I did think like the pacing's really, really good in this, but I actually thought it could have been maybe even at least 30 minutes longer. I think they could have, there was more that could have been done. Like you do move along at a reasonable click, I would say, but I feel like you could sit in some of the scenes a bit longer, and they could have, like, I mean, obviously, I just want to see some more of Michael Gambon being a gangster, but you won't get this, Andy, because you haven't seen any Harry Potter films. But yeah, yeah, he was great. Honestly, can't believe how good he was.
The other thing, you don't hear the word yuppie as much these days as you used to, because they talk about him being a yuppie.
What have they been replaced by? Banker wankers? Is that what we now call them?
That's the
what did yuppie stood
name
for? What was it? Young, upwardly mobile. Was it something like that? Hold on.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanker wankers.
That would be yubby, but I don't think that's it.
Yeah, young, upwardly mobile professionals.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, hold on. That's yumpy. Yeah.
That's what it's been replaced with. You didn't hear it's yumpy now.
We're so out of touch. We don't even know.
Yeah. Is this good? Probably good that we don't remember anymore. But yeah, what did you have for the aliens then, Andy?
I just went with, it's London, innit?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just, they need to know.
Sums up. Yeah, exactly. But just stay out, go other places first, because it's going to go crazy.
It's going to be
London, innit? What did you have, Tev?
I put a documentary of what James Bond does in his downtime.
Is this Bond
his side job?
If we think Thomas Crown is Bond if he gets into like high business, is this Bond if he goes into drug dealing?
Yeah, like he goes too deep undercover and he becomes a drug dealer. He can't help it.
Yeah.
And a bit of a shell of himself, because he is a sort of a more fragile man. This
I don't
Bond,
I don't like guns, although that one is very pretty.
Yeah.
And then he does the two Bond moves, which you just kind of like, okay,
I know
we'll give you that. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You want to audition for it and show, that's fine.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. Do you think there were any questions the film asked or answered?
Yeah, for me, I was like, I don't think you can get out unscathed from a life of crime. I think that's the...
Oh, wow. That was your takeaway.
Yeah.
That's so good, Carla. Never go into crime. I love it.
For anyone listening, crime does not pay.
Yeah.
We've just lost our youth audience.
Yeah, they're like, what? I've got to learn and go and do an actual job? Yeah. Yeah,
Crime
sorry.
doesn't pay. But
Maybe
if you work for a pharmaceutical company, it's fine to get people addicted to your drugs, and
so
there won't be anything.
Yeah, that's good crime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If the
What did you
stockholders
guys
there-
think though? Was it something similar or was I way off?
I thought, like, because I know we talked about Guy Ritchie, and they are the same but different. I was like, does it really matter? Like, and it reminds me of, and we've said this before on the pod, Andy, about Quentin Tarantino, and everyone's like, oh, you know, they've taken that from here, or Tarantino's stolen this from other films, and it's like, well, I guess ultimately, like music or anything, you're always going to be stealing some element somehow from someone. And so I'm like, is this a good film? Yes. Do I like the fact that there's more sort of these sort of gangster films out because this one was made as well? Yes. Is it like a Guy Ritchie film? Yes. Do I care? No. And so
lots of questions in rapid quick fire.
it was a big movie. There was a lot of things going on, you know. I moved around as I asked and answered the questions. Yeah.
Andy, if you go on holidays, at least you know Kev can host this podcast just by himself.
To be honest with you, because he forgets that he's watched most of the movies, he'd still be able to ask himself the same questions, and he wouldn't remember what the answers were.
Did you remember it? No. Did you enjoy it? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The details.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think it's the music, the elevator, because I wouldn't say that Guy Ritchie is known for the music and for the scores in his movies. There's nothing that I can really think that like springs out for this. But again, like, just so many great tunes in this, and used so well. Like the sound effects, and like when they're going back to the boatyard and at the club as well. Yeah, there's so many great.
At the club was good as well. They had some great music there.
I want to throw out there that maybe Sidney didn't kill him because of Tammy, but because he knew that he killed the Duke.
But then he didn't kill the Duke.
No, but he's now the top dog, right? So if you're one of the Duke's boys, then do you think that he killed the Duke, or like, because he's now in charge of everything, and Jean killed the Duke, and Jean now works for him. Like he's the top of the gang. So it's possible that like that actually it's not all about just the girl, which would elevate the girl's role in the film ridiculously, considering how little that she's in it. And I don't think you really get that they're, you know, lifelong soulmates. But is it just, okay, well, you're, you know, as they say, you're the boss now, and he's like, yeah, but I don't want to be the boss. But it doesn't matter. Like, to your point, Carla, like once you're known, there's always going to be someone gunning for you, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's
Crime
a good
doesn't
take.
pay. It always comes back.
Or else he had to do it for the Duke, but really he was happy to do it because of the girl.
Yeah. And I think to your point as well, Kev, like that's where like maybe in a slightly longer film, you get the 10 minutes, or even in a Guy Ritchie film, I think when it's not as focused on the main character, I think you get the 10 minutes where they're all talking about it, and almost like Gaza persuades Sidney to do it because he's like, you know, we've got to avenge the Duke. Oh, Andy's taken your bird. And like, and it becomes, it's explained a bit more. Whereas I think like, actually I prefer it not like just doing it and then being like, sorry. And like looking completely weedy and then running off. I think, like, and also the pulling away where he's clearly like, he's been shot, but it's very possible that he survives it, right? Because he's just like coughing and stuff. And I think that's good, because then that does leaves more questions, which I like in a movie.
Layer take 2.
Yeah,
there's been loads loads of times when they've talked about it.
Really?
Yeah. And like
maybe they will after listening to this. They'll know that the appetite is there.
Yeah, I would have thought we have that sort of thing. No, well, funnily enough, it would be Daniel Craig in like the Gambon situation. So it'd be like he's the top of the layer cake, and it's like, I mean, you could do it like with The Gentleman, right, where the youngsters are more violent and they don't understand the rules, and maybe they feel like The Gentleman took it away. They won't do it because
and then they've had the TV series of that now as well. Which is
exactly,
also good.
Which character would you most like to be, or you feel the most affinities
Well, I
Gambon,
should just
Kev.
tell all the listeners that well, I mean, obviously Gambon. When I was writing my notes for this podcast, I was severely hungover, and I thought I'd love to be kinky at this moment. Just sat there on that mattress, not moving, and I was like, that's where I currently want to be.
That is so grim.
just dead. Just kill me now.
Just dead. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
not moving, but I mean, not necessarily dead, but you know, I mean, I guess if I do method acting. What about you guys?
I'd obviously have to be Jean, the main Irish person in the film.
Yeah.
Although one of the Kinky's friends was also Irish, but I would rather be
Oh
Jean.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So I just looked up Michael Gambon, and it has him quoted as an Irish actor. So he's
Oh.
not
Yeah, he was born. Yeah,
There
he
you
was born
go.
in Ireland.
Still,
There you are.
I feel he's a bit too elite
Another one,
for
Carla.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah,
Andy?
no, fully, yeah, I went for Gene as well. I like Gene. I
Yeah.
think he's the one. I like the bit about meditating when he's talking about like taking the
Yes.
guns to pieces. I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. And then it's also the
Yeah.
like, would you really want to be the number one top guy? It just seems like a lot of effort. I'd rather Gene's out there fishing. He's like, and then someone turns
Yeah,
up
true.
and someone else shoots some people, and he's a bit like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's-
Yeah.
He's
Freezes
clearly
MD.
like a good friend, good to keep his secrets, wants to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
everyone on track. Yeah, I like Jane's character a lot.
Yeah. What was your favorite lines?
I had
Yeah,
two.
Carla?
So I
Mhm.
loved when the Duke said, "You'd give a fucking aspirin an headache." I thought
Yeah,
that was
that's a
such a
good one.
good one.
It's a great line, yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
also just loved after the cafe scene, Morty just says, "I'm sorry about that. I won't be around for a while."
Yeah.
And then just boom, is gone. I
Yeah.
was like, what?
And again,
Yeah.
again, a brilliant piece with Daniel Craig's just like, and he just sort of is looking
Yeah.
around and he's just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
What? And even during that scene, he's like, Morty, he's had enough. You're like, oh, great. I'm not taking you on any robberies. He's shouting
Yeah.
my name out. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're the worst criminal of all time.
He's-
Oh,
Yeah,
whole scene.
that is good. Such a good scene. That is a great line. You're right. It's like he has instant realization as soon as he kind of leaves the cafe, and he's like, "Oh no, that was bad." I'm out.
Yeah, it's the adding of about that. I'm sorry about that. As in, like,
Yeah.
you know, I made you miss the bus or something. Not
I've made you accessory to murder. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Orcs. Yeah. What about you, Eddie?
Just to go for the gangster line. I love "Don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining." That's
Yeah.
the amount of times that I use that on just an everyday basis.
Yeah.
It's
Just at work.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it when he's up on the roof and he says, "Do you know what a remora fish is?" He says, "Yes."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, clever bastard."
Yeah.
And then I think when they've kind of gone through everything after that, he's nearly been killed and he reveals that Jimmy's a grass and stuff. And Daniel Craig says, "I really think we should keep all of this to ourselves." and Gene and Morty just look at him like, "Oh, yeah, you think, do you?"
Yeah. Yeah. Could be a good idea.
And then after the what you want and the expansive, and then he says, "What are you after?" It's a shot of the title, "A Seat by the Band." And I think it's I like that kind of like he's trying to find out because he already knows that he wants to just run off with his cash, and so he's like, "Well, what do you actually want?" And he's trying to put some doubt in, which I think is great. And then even for Michael Gambon, when he says, "How are you?" and he answers it, "I'm in the best of health." And I for a little while I was trying to answer every time someone asked how I was with the best of health, but didn't stick.
Didn't know. Because just always unwell.
didn't-
You need to
just-
get onto
just-
these AG1s. They're here. They're
just-
really good to help your health.
Unofficial sponsor. You're giving away for free, Kev. You don't understand.
I thought this is how it was done.
I just couldn't. Just wasn't cool enough. I would say Daniel Craig again, both sporting a leather jacket very well to go back to Limitless. Obviously, both drugs and leather jacket. I feel like Daniel Craig's leather
Yes.
jacket look is better. And also, like end of 90s, he's got that blue shirt on. The dates, the baby blue shirt.
Yeah,
You just
God,
don't see that anymore. Don't see that anymore.
Yeah, well, unless you're in Australia, we're still in the 80s, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get there one day. So yeah, some great reviews. First of all, thank you to whoever it was who decided to leave a 3-star review just to basically amuse themselves, I can only imagine. So the review is,
Nice.
As the title suggests, layer cake will excite foodies. Craig plays baker Henwick Penny. By day, he works in a patisserie. At night, he's a lethal contract killer. Craig is hired by ruthless gangster Hugo Bastian Steed to undertake a most deadly contract. In a particularly eerie scene, Bastian Steed visits the patisserie just 2 minutes before closing, placing Craig under a lot of pressure as Craig was just about to lock up for the night. Bastian Steed proceeds to place an order for 100 fondant fancies, which must be prepared and delivered to his garden party within 48 hours. The tension is nail-biting as Craig weighs up whether he can manage to fulfill the order. I found the film quite slow in parts, particularly the scene where Craig waits for the fondant fancies to rise in the oven. The director's decision to film this in real time adds an unnecessary 30 minutes to the film. That aside, the acting from Craig is impressive, and the love subplot where he's romancing broody older librarian Mrs. Phelps, Maggie Smith, adds a certain charm to the proceedings.
Wow. That is what a review.
For 3 stars. Like, if you're going to do something like that, as we've said, no one reads 3-star reviews.
Well,
you've thought up all of that, and you've not put it in 5 stars where people would actually read it.
But like, there'll be someone out there one day who will make it their mission to review all 3-star reviews, and this will come out. And there it has. It's come out in all its glory. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
I also want to watch that film. That sounds like a great film.
And just fast forward the real time fondant fancies.
That'd be the double feature with it.
Yeah, exactly.
One.
And then some actual 3-star reviews. Difficult to sort out the bad guys from the bad guys. Nice.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
Bought because Tom Hardy is in the movie. Feel like they would have been disappointed.
Bit, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The show was fantastic, I must admit. However, the DVD spindle inside the case was broken and resulted in the DVD getting slightly scratched. It played without a problem, though. That person has deducted 2 stars because the spindle was broken and it got scratched, but that had no consequence on the playing of the movie.
There you go.
Yeah, and then again, we've not had one of these for a while. My friend lent me the DVD, which my bulldog ate before I had a chance to watch it. But he's still giving it 3 stars.
Wow.
And then one last one. This is from Roger Ebert. This is why Roger Ebert is so great. He liked the film. He gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. But he says, Craig is fascinating here as a criminal who is very smart and finds that it is not an advantage, because while you might be able to figure out what another smart person is about to do, dumbos like the men he works for are likely to do anything. And you're like, yes, that sums it up. That sums it up very well, because obviously they talk about him being clever all the way through.
Yeah.
But it's not enough, because actually you're dealing with a bunch of irrational people.
Yeah.
So
we'll do anything they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. So double feature. What did you have? Or if you were to watch back to back, would you go Guy Ritchie, or would it be a bit much?
Well, I'm not even going to lie. I watched Snatch, inspired by Layer Cake.
There you go.
It did. I mean, I was still in that feeling after watching it, and it's very much comedic in comparison, but they do go very well together. If you're in the mood for it, you're in the mood for it. So they're good.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I went for The Gentleman because I wanted to see how similar they are in plot. Or I would say you could go for a Harry Potter film, and this was more so for you, Andy, just so you can see the range of Michael Gambon, his different roles.
He'd be like, oh, well, he's gone undercover in an exclusive boarding school. I guess
some
that's
random castle. Yeah, what's he doing here? What about you, Andy?
I thought Hot Fuzz would actually be a great double feature. You could
Yeah.
watch this and then watch, this is where the criminals have the upper hand, and then you can watch one where the police have it. Both very, I think, as we said,
both
with
have
Oz,
James Bond in as well,
and very British films as well.
Yes,
I think there's a lot of like Britishness to Layer Cake as well, Englishness, London.
I think you're right.
I thought it would be good. What did you have for the algo? I get, take out all of the Guy Ritchie films, because obviously the algo.
Well, that's the thing, basically.
Predicted all of them. So any non-Guy Ritchie films, otherwise it's just a draw.
Yeah, I went for Sexy Beast. That was the only other one I thought of outside of Guy Ritchie. I thought very similar sort of style, and
Algo had that as well.
There's just a certain number of films, really, aren't there? They're in this genre. I don't think there's anything that really stands out, and obviously all Guy Ritchie films, as we said.
Yeah. So they added in 51st State, which I thought was an interesting shout out. I think it's a bit more comedic, isn't it?
Who's in that again?
Samuel L. Jackson, Robert Carlyle.
Oh yeah.
He's wearing the kilt all the way through, and then the Long Good Friday, which is an old movie, which is very similar, in a lot of ways. So
interesting.
I feel like there's that. Did you guys ever see Rounders with Matt Damon? That kind of gambling, like that. Also, was
the Russian
John Malkovich, was it?
Yeah, it's such a bad Russian accent.
Yeah, it was. But it was also that kind of moody.
Yeah.
Thing. Maybe it's not as glossy as this,
Yeah.
But
it's a good chat though. Still, it's because that again isn't very. It could be played for comedy, but this isn't. So
I think it's hard to win this one, really, because they're all. It's Guy Ritchie films, isn't it? There's no getting around it.
Yeah, I think maybe we just maybe we just put the draw in, because Well, though, funny enough, so I did. I was listening to a podcast that did actually compare it to the Long Good Friday, and then I would listen to a couple of podcasts on this. Not a lot of love for this in the podosphere.
Really?
Yeah, quite a few people just really critical of it, just saying that they thought it was like a worse Guy Ritchie film. Quite a few people didn't actually understand the film. In two of the podcasts, they said, well, it's a shame that the police got all the pills at the end. And I was like, what? No, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Did they press stop too early or something?
I don't know. And then someone was like, I thought that the Dexter Fletcher character just, turned up pretending to be a policeman, and so then all the real police got confused. And you're like, what? No,
what is going on?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, he just randomly talks up, I'm your boss. And who's this guy?
Yeah, exactly. As long as you shout at people, it's fine. But everyone said that it was a worse Guy Ritchie film, or like a non-slick Bond, which
that's a shame they didn't just look at it as a standalone thing.
Yeah. But there's room for all of them, right?
There's room for everyone.
In this lovely world, there's plenty of room for gangster films about dealing drugs.
Although not on my list, where this is the only one. So
yeah, true. Speaking of, it's at number 42. What's happening?
Yeah, so I thought it just probably going to shuffle back a little bit, and then I was trying to think. So 47 and 45 are open either side of the Fall. And I was thinking, do I want it above or just below the Fall? And I thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to put it just below, because I do really like the Fall, and I think the Fall just visually is stunning. So just 47, still top 50. Still really liked it. Still really enjoyed it. But we're just kind of, because we've got that gap, which I presume won't actually get cleared until. Right, I don't know. We won't do the maths for it. So
don't hurt the brain.
Yeah, so we're back to that. What about you, Kev? Top of the
tree. No, I had it in the. It is in the good section. I did thoroughly enjoy it. But I had it as 18 of 59, so pretty middle of the good section, I'd say. Below
Okay.
Limitless and above Color of Money. I did really
Yeah,
enjoy
okay.
it, and it was really good. And there wasn't really anything I didn't like about it, but it's still also not like game changing. You know, it's not like I'm like right on the edge of my seat. It's a great film to watch and very enjoyable. But yeah. So yeah, good, but in the middle of the good section,
Nice.
I'd say.
Nice. And Carla, well, just Kev just
Top
put it
of the list.
just
Above-
above
Top of
Color
the
of
list.
Money.
Above Moneyball.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, above Moneyball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good
this was
movie.
I realized because I do really like gangster films, so I was like,
Yeah,
this is a bit of me, you know,
This is
is
it.
your
This
your
was
cup
good.
of tea.
Yeah.
landing in it, as you said.
That's all you need to know. Awesome, great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming down. We're getting all of the videos that we've lent you back, which is a good thing. For next week, the quote for the film is "That's the way it crumbles, cookie wise." Do you know?
Yeah, wow.
Do you know the quote?
No.
No.
Okay, that's I'm going to start asking that. And next episode, 60th episode. Wow.
Woo.
There we go.
Exciting.
Thank you very much to Tom Miller for the theme song as ever. You know what, Carla, we say this is your cup of tea. We're going to leave the shop now, and actually, I'm going to take you for a posh lunch at the country club.
Wow.
So we can all get on
fabulous.
ourselves the yellow Range Rovers parked out front. Let's go.
Crikey. I always do it at the wrong
You always go too early. You always go too early.
Okay.